Hello students, this is Shweta Roy. This video is for chapter 3 part 2 motions of the earth. In this video we are going to discuss about effects of the earth's revolution, summer solstice, winter solstice, equinoxes and varying length of day and night. These are some of the important topics which we are going to cover in this video. So here we have our first topic of this video, revolution of the earth. In our previous video we have discussed about the rotation of the earth and what are the effects of the rotation of the earth, and in this video we will discuss about the revolution of the earth. So the movement of earth around the sun is known as revolution of the earth, and it takes 365 days, 5 hours, 48 minutes and 45 seconds to complete one revolution. So for convenience, a normal year is considered to be of 365 days, and you can see the revolution of earth is also called the annual motion of the earth. Now how this 5 hours 48 minutes and 45 seconds time is adjusted? So it is adjusted like this. It is the balance of approximately 6 hours. These 6 hours becomes 24 hours in 4 times. You can see in 4 times these 6 hours become 24 hours. That means it is equal to 1 day. So these extra 1 day or these extra hours is added to the month of February on every 4th year, and like this the additional day is added and it is called a leap day. So you can see that every 4th year of February is 29 days in place of 28 days. So every 4th year has 366 days. That is because the earth takes 5 hours 48 minutes and 45 seconds extra to complete the revolution of the earth, and that in 4 years is equal to 1 day. Now the year which has 366 days and has February of 29 days is called leap year. Now this leap year is also always divisible by 4. You can see 2012, 2016, 2020, 2024 are the leap year, and if you will divide it by 4, it will be divided. Now the path along with which the earth move around the sun is called the orbit of the sun or orbit of the earth. So earth always moves on the orbit. It cannot escape from its orbit. Now earth is going around the sun in an elliptical orbit. Earth has its own fixed path. As I told, it cannot go outside of its orbit. It cannot escape its orbit. The orbital part of earth is elliptical in shape. Now the earth moves around the sun from west to east direction. The earth revolves around the sun at the speed of about 30 km per second or about 1,08,000 km per hour. Earth's orbit is about 965 million km long, and Earth is inclined in the same direction direction throughout its orbit. And that is the northeastern direction. We have already discussed about this. Now, what is difference between rotation and revolution? So, rotation is the spinning of Earth on its own axis. When it is spinning on its own axis like a top, that is rotation. But the movement of Earth around the sun is called revolution. When it is taking a round towards sun, that is revolution. Now, to complete one rotation, the Earth takes 24 hours. And to complete one revolution, the Earth takes 365 and 1/4 day. The result of rotation is day and night. Because of the rotation, day and night occurs, which we have already discussed. And as the result of revolution, there is change in seasons. Now, the distance between Earth and Sun is not constant because Earth's orbit is elliptical in shape. And Earth is not centrally placed in it. So, the average distance between Sun and Earth is 150 million kilometer, but it varies from a maximum of about 152 million kilometer to a minimum of about 147 million kilometer. So, sometimes it has the distance of 147 million kilometers, sometimes 152 million kilometers, sometimes 150 million kilometers. So, like this, it varies sometimes. Now, on 3rd January, the Earth is at the minimum distance from the Sun. Minimum distance from the Sun on 3rd January, and this position is known as perihelion. On July 4, the Earth is at the maximum distance from the Sun, and this position is termed as aphelion. So, there is perihelion and aphelion. So, perihelion is the minimum distance from the Sun, that is on 3rd January. Aphelion, the maximum distance from the Sun, that is on 4th July. So, you can see on 3rd January we have the shortest day. On 4th July we have longest day of the year, which we will discuss further in this video. What are the effects of the Earth's revolution? So, the first we will discuss about the occurrence of seasons. As you know, the seasons are very important and they affect our life. And we have many seasons. If we see, we have many seasons. And those seasons are because of the effect of the revolution of the Earth. Now, the revolution of Earth together with the inclined axis determines the primary distribution of solar energy over the Earth, and above all, it results in the changes of the seasons. As we know, the Sun is the source of heat and energy on the Earth, and the changing intensity and concentration of its rays give rise to the seasons. So, usually we have 4 seasons: spring, summer, autumn and winter. Now, the seasons change due to the change in the position of Earth around the Sun, and these seasons are marked by solstices and equinoxes. Solstices and equinoxes. Solstice refers to the time when the midday sun is directly overhead, at one of the tropics. So on June 21st, the sun is directly overhead the Tropic of Cancer, and this time is considered as summer solstice. While 22nd December, the sun shines directly on the Tropic of Capricorn, and it is known as the winter solstice. And this winter and summer solstice occurred once in the year. So on June 21st we have summer solstice, and on December 22nd we have winter solstice. On summer solstice, while summer solstice, the sun directly overheading the Tropic of Cancer, and while winter solstice, the sun is directly overheading the Tropic of Capricorn. So here in the picture you can have a better understanding. You can see on the 22nd December, which is winter solstice, the Tropic of Capricorn is directly getting the sun rays, and on 21st June, which is summer solstice, the Tropic of Cancer is directly getting the sun rays. So we can have winter solstice and we can have summer solstice. Now we will discuss about the summer solstice, which occurs on 21st June, and conditions prevail in the northern and southern hemisphere. So during summer solstice, the north hemisphere inclined towards the sun. The northern hemisphere is inclined towards the sun, and the southern hemisphere stays away from the sun. Now the sun rays fall vertically on the Tropic of Cancer and slanting on the Tropic of Capricorn. So the northern hemisphere receives more light and heat from the sun when we compare it to southern hemisphere. And summer in the northern hemisphere and winter in the southern hemisphere occurs due to this. Now the areas which are near to poles, they receive less heat as the rays of the sun are slanting towards the pole. Now in the northern hemisphere, days are longer than night, while condition is reverse in the southern hemisphere. In the southern hemisphere, nights are longer than the day. And 21st June is the longest day and shortest night in the northern hemisphere, while the shortest day and longest night in the southern hemisphere. Now in summer solstice, the north pole inclined towards the sun, and place beyond the Arctic Circle receives continuous sunlight for about 6 months. As north pole is inclined towards the sun, it will get continuous sunlight for 6 months, and south pole will remain in darkness for about 6 months continuously. Now when we talk about the winter solstice, it occurs on 22nd December, and this time the southern hemisphere is inclined towards the sun, and the northern hemisphere is away from the sun. Now the sun rays fall vertically on Tropic of Capricorn and slanting on the Tropic of Cancer. Now as the sun rays fall vertically on the Tropic of Capricorn, that area gets the light, and the summer in the southern hemisphere with larger days and shorter nights occurs, and in this time winter is occurred in the northern hemisphere. So in southern hemisphere the days are longer and nights are shorter, and they will have the winter, but the northern hemisphere will experience the winter. Sorry, southern hemisphere will have the summer and northern hemisphere will have the winter. Now 22nd December is the longest day in the southern hemisphere, but it is shortest day in the northern hemisphere. Now during winter solstice, North Pole remains in darkness for about 6 months, while the South Pole receives sunlight for about 6 months. Because this time the southern hemisphere is inclined towards the sun and it is receiving the sunlight. Now the southern hemisphere receives more heat and light from the sun when it is compared to northern hemisphere. Australia, Argentina, Chile, etc. are the countries that celebrate Christmas in the summer season. Now you can see the latitudes and duration of sun shine. So on 0 degree we have 12 hours of sunshine, 50 degrees 16 hours of sunshine, 66 and half degree 24 hours, 70 degree 2 months, 80 degree 4 months, 90 degrees 6 months. So this is the duration of the sun sign. Now we will talk about the equinox. Till now we have discussed about the solstice, and now we will discuss about the equinox. So that is 21st March and 23rd September. Equinox is actually a Latin word and it means equal nights. So in this time days and nights are equal. So equinoxes occur twice in a year, that is March 21 and September 23, and considered as spring equinox and autumnal equinox. So 21st March is the spring equinox and 23rd September is the autumnal equinox. And days and nights are equal in the equinox. So on 21st March and 23rd September, the sun rays fall vertically on the equator. Now in this position, neither of the poles is tilted towards the sun, and the whole earth experiences equal day and equal night. Now during the spring and autumnal equinoxes, the temperature remains mild. On 21st March, the northern hemisphere experiences spring equinox and southern hemisphere experiences autumnal equinox. And the same is on 23rd September. On 23rd September, there is autumn season in the northern hemisphere and spring season in the southern hemisphere. Now we will discuss about the varying length of day and night. Now here we have a picture. You can see the picture, and in this you can see the earth is inclined and northern hemisphere remains tilted towards the sun for half of the year. The northern hemisphere is towards the sun for half of the year, and the southern hemisphere is inclined towards the sun during another half part of the year. You can see in the picture. In the first picture, northern hemisphere is inclined toward the sun, and in the second picture, southern hemisphere is inclined towards the sun. So when northern hemisphere is inclined towards the hours, which is almost for 6 months continuously. Now the condition is reversed in the southern hemisphere. That time in the southern hemisphere it will be dark for approximately 6 months. So this time the days are longer and nights are shorter in the northern hemisphere. When southern hemisphere faces the sun, the south pole will experience the daylight for 24 hours and north pole will be there in the darkness. Now the days are longer and nights are shorter in most of the part of the southern hemisphere when south hemisphere faces the sun. The length of the day and night is equal at the equator throughout the year because it receives equal sun rays in both conditions. Either north pole is inclined towards the sun or the south pole is inclined toward the sun. The equator is continuously getting the sunlight. So the days and nights are equal at the equator. Now to check your progress, there are some questions. Suppose your date of birth is 29 February. Which term would you use for this day and year? Second, when the sun rays fall vertical on the equator, then what is the duration of day and night on the earth? On which dates the sun rays fall vertical on the equator? Third, name the countries which celebrate Christmas in the summer season. Fourth, summer season is prevailing in India. With reference to this statement, answer the following questions. Which season would have the people of New Zealand been experiencing? Second, which pole would remain in continuous daylight for 6 months? So these are some of the questions which you need to answer. I hope you all understood all the topics taught in this video. Thank you.